In the 17th chapter of St. Luke's Gospel is the account of Jesus encountering the 10 persons with leprosy. He sends them to the priest. On the way to the priest, they are cured, they are cleansed. And one of the persons with leprosy, realizing he's been cleansed, returns to Jesus to praise God, to thank Jesus. And so seeing becomes very central to the entire story. First of all, Jesus sees 10 persons with leprosy, and he reaches out and cures them. And then secondly, the one person with leprosy sees that he has been healed by God, and so returns to Jesus to praise God and to thank Jesus. So the question for us is, what do we see and what do we do when we see it? First of all, Jesus saw 10 persons with leprosy. That's a new translation of that passage. It used to be Jesus saw 10 lepers. But there's a big difference, isn't there, between a leper and a person with leprosy. Just as there's a big difference between cancer patients and persons with cancer, or between the mentally ill and persons with mental illness, or the homeless and persons who are homeless. Jesus sees a person with leprosy not only with his physical eyes, but his spiritual eyes. He sees a person there. The person made in God's image, beloved by God, a brother or sister to him, and someone who is in need. And like the Good Samaritan, the story we heard a couple of weeks ago, Jesus reaches out and helps him in his need. So the question for us is, what do we see when we look at people around us? Do we see the person? Do we see their situation? Do we see perhaps an irritable coworker as someone who's going through a number of family problems or situations? An elderly neighbor as someone kind of cut off from their family perhaps, in need of a visit. The new student at school is someone separated from their old friends. Do we see the victims of the hurricane in Haiti, for instance, as just hurricane victims or true persons who need our help? So what do we see? What do we do when we see it? And then secondly, the one person with leprosy sees that he's been healed. He realizes it's not of his own doing, but it's a wonderful gift from God. It's God's grace working in him. And realizing it's God's grace working in him, he returns to Jesus to praise God and to thank Jesus, to connect with God. He knows that his healing is a gift of God's grace, and so by connecting with God, he keeps that channel of grace between him and God flowing. Of course, we do the same, don't we? Whenever we gather to celebrate Mass, it's a chance for us to come together and to praise and to thank God, to connect with God for the many blessings God has given us. We see our lives as a blessing from God. Not only our lives ourselves, but every moment of our life, every breath is a gift from God. We see good health as a tremendous gift from God. We see the love of family and friends, the things of nature, as all God's grace working in our lives. And we want to connect with that. We really do. We want to reach beyond ourselves to connect with God, to praise and to thank God, to keep that channel of grace flowing between us. And then connecting with God, of course, it gives us the power then to reach out to others who are in need with the same grace and gifts that God has given us. And we do that out of gratitude. So again, what do you see and what do you do when you see it?